Pro Knockout Alliance in a clean 2-0 sweep, and I have the honor to, for the first time in my life, be interviewing G. God kill them all, one of the very old school players in the scene. G, welcome. Thanks for taking the opportunity. You just took out Alliance. You must be feeling pretty good, right?
Yeah, obviously it feels pretty good sitting here.
Did you took them out 2-0, and Alliance have been struggling a little bit in terms of performance. How did you perceive them as opponents in this game? They were both medium-long games. Was it particularly hard because you've played against them more often? What was your impression of them?
We haven't played them before, not much, I mean. And some scrims that we played, they showed us that they have some solid strats, mostly forming from previous signatures Bulldog heroes, Furion, some Lone Druid strats. They play in Wisp Tiny pretty perfectly, and some combination with Leech. So before this tournament started, I actually thought that Alliance could easily go to top 4, just because of how flexible they were. You see this Minot's Queen of Pain and some support, Slardar support, all this kind of stuff makes your picks, your draft, how it's going, it become much harder because you actually don't know where someone will go. And with the S4 coming back, their synergy as a team growth during this month dramatically. So I actually thought that they will pass the group from winner bracket, but surprisingly they haven't won any games, and they won one best of one. Speaking about our games, first game, on one point we were actually started losing, and probably won't come back if not this thing on Roshan happened, when Phobos vacuumed 2 heroes on high ground, and they lost some supports, etc. It shouldn't happen. If this won't happen, this will probably be game for us, and we will lose. The second game it was easier. Their draft, even though co-op was support, their draft wasn't so unpredictable. So their movement, it was actually pretty easy to read, but not because of how they played, but just because of the heroes. They got static lanes, and we had some greedy draft, and we were forming these lanes, and then one good fight on Rosh and Snowball. So not much they can do, I think.
So, interesting point you made about Alliance being, for one, very flexible in their drafting, and also a team that, apart from Nuts, has a lot of experience playing under pressure a lot. So, as you said, in game 1 it was relatively close. Did you experience anything in particular during your match with them where you thought they just didn't perform as you expected them to? Was it just the way they coordinated? Was it the picks? Where was the strongest weakness you saw?
I think in general they didn't play as good as a team, maybe. There were some stupid pickoffs that we made on their heroes, different heroes. It's not one player. It's mainly if this kind of stuff happens, it's just because they just today or these days it's not a good days for them, a team. Sometimes you just lacking something, and you're losing. So
I do want to go into game 1 a little bit, because you had the Dragon Knight on safe lane, and we're wondering with them having Brewmaster as well, could you elaborate a bit how the draft developed? What was your philosophy behind the picks? Was it to pick Dragon Knight with Blink to be able to just jump Brew, stun, and then have Lina be able to burst him down before he's able to do something? Or was it more complicated than that?
We picked Dragon Knight before Brewmaster, so Dragon Knight pick wasn't about stunning Brew. Um, but when they actually pick Brew, in my mind, I already thought that if we pick DK and they got last pick, and probably it will be mid laner, so they can go for some greedy hero 2 that will make a lot of farm from this lane, like whatever, and they kind of sort of needed some kind of team fight hero that could make some synergy between Gyrocopter and Doom and their other heroes. So Brewmaster was one of the obvious choices. So to get some advantage from lanes, we just put Razor mid because there's nothing they can do about it. And Dragon Knight safe lane isn't so bad of a hero. It's just isn't so bad in a hero in general. It got stunned. Like this Wind Ranger now, it's super popular just because of this 8-second stun on 2 heroes, like for both. And DK got 1, but it's 100% stun on 1, and it goes to 4 too. So it's just a good hero in general, and we don't want to not to make pressure on Alliance just because the way they play, they pressure your lanes now. So DK can pressure some towers, and if their towers are pressured, it's much harder to them to split or play against Spirit Breaker. It's just the whole combination in general, but it could be another hero. Obviously, our draft wasn't so solid first game. I think so.
Spirit Breaker, speaking of that hero, you picked him 4 out of the last 5 games you picked. What's the thought process behind that? Is it just a hero you value very highly in terms of what?
It just suits us, and it doesn't actually reveal something about your draft. You just pick in Spirit Breaker, and they see this is a cow, and it will be probably run on you, and whatever. And you can pick 4 other heroes that have no synergy with Spirit Breaker, and he would still run on the people and feed, or just a fun hero.
All right, so then first of all, of course, congratulations to beating Alliance. You do have another tough opponent coming up in OG. Also some very experienced players on that team. Obviously, you don't have that much time now to very much enjoy because you're still in the lower bracket. You got to keep fighting. Give me your thoughts about OG.
It was when this team was created. It was an interesting roster in general, like because Notail was playing support before for a long time, and then he's coming back on the core role, and they got Miracle, some new blood, and I just was watching them and I was waiting what will happen to this team. Will they succeed or something? Because in general, I really like all the players there. Even Moonmidra, that I know this player only from the TI, just because I don't think complexity actually appeared somewhere before these qualifiers. So I actually thought that all this roster is pretty interesting, but how it will work, I wasn't sure. But now they using the idea that basically they have 4 close to support the roles players to. They use this. They pick in Beastmaster and core roles, some heroes that actually provide more things for the team than for themselves, and give Miracle the opportunity to actually shine or whatever. And Miracle is doing good things. He is like. He really knows what to do on the heroes that he used to play. So his hero pool is. I'm not sure how big it is, but it's obviously enough for them to be comfortable in themselves. I was talking that Alliance were flexible, but obviously OG, in terms of their hero pool, are much more flexible. They got some strategies that they're used to, but it's not like they're stubbornly picking them from time to time. They playing from you too, and if you're making some, if you're showing them some weak points in the draft, they can actually win your lane phase. And probably now they have the strongest tiny wisp combination in the world. Like. I can't often say this, like this is the best in the world, but I'm pretty sure their tiny wisp is best in the world. So that's what kind of opponents we're going to face tomorrow.
Oh, wow. I mean, that does mean a lot coming from you. Very interested to see how that's going to turn out. Wrapping up, I do want to ask or talk to you about two more things. First thing would be FNG as your captain. You have been around ever since the very first TI. Back then, still playing with Moscow 5. So you've seen a lot of things. How does the communication work in terms of who makes the calls? Do you derogate a lot from your middle lane? Can you talk a bit about how the communication is in the team, early, mid, late game? Kind of who makes the calls and stuff?
The calls are made by the team in general. Obviously, someone is speaking more, someone less in a situation that he knows better. Hopefully, not hopefully, but I got lucky that I'm playing for such a long time. I try to talk a lot. In general, the more farm you got, the more items you got, the more impact you should be making, the more you should talk. Like I think that's how it works in general. FNG is more like connecting us together, like a team. And sometimes he got some crazy ideas that he just goes with. But when it comes to the really important games, he's one of the best drafter I played with. And I played with a lot of guys, and I played with a lot of amazing players. Yeah, that's how I can say. But he's young, and he learns a lot, and he can say that okay, I made a mistake here, or I lost the game here, or this draft was bad. He can like do this kind of stuff. So I can just help him with his way. Like this is how it goes for me.
Last question is about the other strong teams in the competition. I talked to Eternal Envy yesterday, and he made an interesting point about both CDEC and EG. He said about CDEC that they are extremely almost perfect in the first 10 minutes of the game, and wanted to hear your opinion about both CDEC, your thoughts, and also maybe a bit about EG.
They're both quite strong teams, and these two teams easily could be in the grand finals. I'm not saying that these are the two strongest one, but I wouldn't be surprised if something like this will happen. CDEC, after this TI patch, they adapted with a bit new heroes, but their idea stayed they stayed the same, which is reasonable, just because this patch after TI doesn't change much about mechanics or something. It was more about heroes. Obviously, the patch developed by itself, and there is much more strategies that are used by different teams. But in general, their playstyle is solid, and they can actually win every team. Against some teams, they have tougher time. That actually prepared to this kind of aggression. EG is this kind of opponent that it is just what kind of mindset they will have before the games. If they would be prepared for this, and if EG really would like to fight you, like not to attack first, but to counter their attack, they can do it. But maybe they won't be ready. Even if they plan to, or maybe they will just move in some other direction and try to outsmart them during some map control fight, etc. For example, CDEC are attacking EG, and EG are dodging this. Like EG are really experienced about how to farm, how to execute their heroes that will be potentially stronger when they will be farmed. Like both Sumail and Arteezy, like they're just masterized it. one of the best guys that can actually farm, and all the other three players can really help them during all this time. I'm pretty sure when they're going in the game, that they can win with the farm and split push. Their coordination, their understanding where is the enemy without some wards or some other kind of this kind of stuff is one of the best. So it would be a really interesting game, like two very strong teams.
Okay, last question, I'll leave you alone. Virtus Pro versus OG, if you would say what the chances are for your success, is it 50-50? How would you rate it? Just, guessing it.
I always believe in my success. So